New state-of-the-art intelligence is here, and it costs less than you think. GPT 5.6 Soul just shattered records on the agent's last exam, scoring 53.6 points while completely eclipsing Claude Fable 5 by over 13 points in adaptive reasoning. This isn't a minor upgrade, it's a fundamental shift in how we measure capability versus expense. When you push to medium complexity levels, GPT 5.6 Soul beats the competition by 11.4 points, yet runs on roughly one quarter of the estimated cost required for its rival. We are talking about raw speed and efficiency that changes everything for your workflow today. But before we dive into how these three new models stack up against each other in real world production, you need to see exactly what happens when they face off under pressure. The year is 2026, and the artificial intelligence landscape has split into two distinct camps. On one side stands OpenAI's GPT 5.6 family, featuring its flagship Soul model alongside balanced data and cost efficient Luna variants. They are ready for immediate deployment via their API today. Facing them is Anthropic's Claude Fable 5, launched just weeks ago on June 9th to capture the same enterprise control. This isn't a simple tie, it is a high stakes battle over who defines your workflow efficiency and cost structure. The numbers tell an aggressive story of escalation in intelligence while costs plummet simultaneously. GPT 5.6 Soul scores 53.6 on critical exams, smashing previous records held by Claude Fable 5 by more than 13 points alone. Yet the real fight happens in your budget every single second you run a prompt. We will break down exactly where each model wins and which one keeps your ledger balanced when it matters most. The numbers don't lie, and neither does the data from early 2026 test. We just saw GPT 5.6 Soul eclipse Claude Fable 5 by a massive 13-point margin on their toughest exam. But here is where things get interesting for your actual workflow. At medium reasoning tasks that drive real results, OpenAI's flagship beats the French giant while costing you roughly one quarter of what they charge. They even hold up better under maximum load with 61% faster completion times and half the cost on complex coding jobs. Let's break down exactly how these performance gaps translate to your daily usage costs in a second. Stop paying twice as much for half the work. The numbers are stark and they tell a simple story about ownership. Claude Fable 5 launches at $10 per million input tokens, while GPT 5.6 Soul costs just 5. For output, it is 50 versus 30. That is exactly double the price tag built into every line of code you generate with Anthropic's model. They call this premium pricing a feature. We call it a margin killer for any serious business. When your operations scale, paying $2 to solve one problem destroys profitability faster than low volume ever could. This isn't about who is smarter. It is about who values your budget enough not to force you into expensive inefficiencies. The math does not favor the higher price tag when performance gaps are this narrow or non-existent. You need a partner that scales with your ambition, not one that charges rent on every token. Stop guessing which model thinks faster and start seeing what actually happens on hard tasks. The agent's last exam proves it once and for all. GPT 5.6 Soul doesn't just compete, it dominates. While Claude Fable 5 struggles with complex reasoning chains, our flagship Soul scores a massive 53.6 on the exam. That number isn't accidental, it represents pure intelligence that surpasses its main rival by 13.1 points in raw capability. This is where founders need to be because every extra point here translates directly into fewer failed experiments and more reliable automation for your team. We are not talking about marginal gains or minor tweaks to a previous generation. Sol sets the new high bar, eclipsing Fable 5 with superior logic that handles multi-step problems without losing focus. When you push an AI through its limits on difficult agents tasks, Sol delivers results while consuming less than half the time and significantly fewer resources. This isn't just about raw power, it is about precision where mistakes cost money and reputation. The gap widens when complexity rises because Sol maintains stability under pressure that competitors simply cannot match today. Speed is not just about raw processing power, it is about finishing complex work in less time and using fewer resources. Look at the Artificial Analysis Coding Agent Index, where GPT 5.6 Soul sets a new state of the art score of 80, placing it 2.8 points above Claude Fable 5. This isn't a minor lead. The model completes tasks with max reasoning 61% faster while consuming less than half the output tokens and taking significantly less time overall. The economics shift dramatically here too. When running medium-level reasoning, GPT 5.6 Sol beats its competitor by 11.4 points at roughly one quarter of the estimated cost. Even on a per token basis, you see massive savings with input pricing set at $5 versus $10 and output costs landing at $30 against 50. By utilizing fewer tokens to generate high-quality code, developers save money directly without sacrificing accuracy or speed. This efficiency multiplier means your projects launch faster while keeping operational expenses under strict control for every line of code written. When it comes to safety, OpenAI and Anthropic take fundamentally different paths. OpenAI uses platform safeguards designed to handle complex scenarios without breaking your workflow. Their system is built on flexibility, ensuring high-risk requests are managed within the session itself rather than being cut off abruptly. This creates a seamless experience where you stay in control even when things get tough. In contrast, Anthropic takes a harder stance by blocking specific cyber and bio requests entirely. If those filters trigger, they immediately fall back to their Opus Forte model instead of attempting the original task on Fable 5. While this fallback rarely happens over 95% of sessions, it still represents a structural difference in how each platform handles boundaries. OpenAI lets you push forward with built-in protection, whereas Anthropic creates hard stops that force a version switch only when necessary. This distinction matters for developers building applications where uninterrupted operation is critical to success. Stop waiting for tomorrow, because both stacks are live today. You can deploy GPT 5.6 instantly via the OpenAI API or Codex, while Claude Fable 5 rolls out worldwide on its own platform right now. But here is where they truly diverge in your daily workflow. Availability goes beyond just being online. It means having the exact tier that matches your ambition and budget. If you need flagship performance without breaking the bank, GPT 5.6 Sol gives you state-of-the-art reasoning at roughly half the cost of its rival while staying within 1 point on key intelligence metrics. For balanced everyday work, grab Terra to get reliable results fast, or switch to Luna if raw speed and lowest token costs are your only priority. Even Claude Fable 5 is generally available for immediate use across global markets today. However, GPT 5.6 gives you the flexibility to choose between Sol's aggressive efficiency, Terra's middle ground, or Luna's cost efficiency depending on whether you prioritize raw speed, balanced utility, or sheer volume savings in your production pipelines. The choice isn't just technical, it is financial strategy. You are sitting on two distinct paths today. One path offers Claude Fable 5, launching June 9th at double the price of GPT 5.6, with a 22-point advantage only in narrow coding benchmarks for an extra $10 per million input tokens and $50 per million output. Do you pay that premium? Or do you own the superior stack represented by GPT 5.6 Sol? This model delivers a score of 80 on our toughest tests, while running at roughly half the time and cost of its competitor. At medium reasoning, it beats Fable 5 by 11.4 points, using merely one quarter the estimated cost. Terra and Luna push this efficiency further, outperforming Fable 5 at around 1/16th the cost for everyday workloads. Why pay double when you can achieve state-of-the-art results with Sol? The calculus is simple. Superior performance means higher margins, not just faster answers. Stop renting intelligence you cannot control. The verdict is clear. Owning your own AI stack isn't optional. It's your only strategic move as a creator or founder. GPT 5.6 Sol delivers flagship performance at roughly half the cost of Claude Fable 5, finishing tasks 61% faster while staying within 1 point on key benchmarks. You are not just saving money, you are reclaiming speed and efficiency that directly impacts your bottom line. When OpenAI's platform safeguards handle high-risk requests without falling back to inferior models, you get reliability others pay extra for. Claude Fable 5 is expensive at $10 per million input tokens, doubling the cost of GPT 5.6 Sol alone. That premium buys less speed and more friction. For anyone building a serious business today, relying on slower, pricier alternatives leaves money and time on the table. The technology exists to give you control over your workflow now. Stop paying double for features that simply aren't there anymore. We just saw how GPT 5.6 Soul outperforms Claude Fable 5 on benchmarks while costing less, and why Terra or Luna might fit your budget better. You now know exactly which model wins for speed, coding tasks, and everyday work without breaking the bank. If you want to stay ahead of these rapid AI shifts, hit subscribe or follow right here. We are building a complete guide so you can choose the perfect tool before it becomes obsolete.